Hello everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Self Unboxing. If you'd like to know what video game collector's edition I'll be unboxing next, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This week's unboxing truly needs no further introduction, and gamers, especially Zelda's lovers and followers, have been eagerly waiting for 6 long years for this to come out. That's right, this is the AAA sequel that we've all been waiting for. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition on Nintendo Switch. Back in 2017, when Wii U was slowly transitioning to the next-gen Switch console, Nintendo announced Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or more commonly called Breath of the Wild. With a massive open world to explore, tons of main and side missions to conquer, and millions of things to collect and brew and forge, it was really something that stood out by itself in its own genre. I'm not saying that there's nothing better or similar before Breath of the Wild, but the impact in modern gaming came after was enormous. Quick example, Genshin Impact by MiHoYo. Sorry, pun unintentionally intended. But you can see that Genshin Impact is very successful too in terms of gamer base, in-app purchase income, and just as a vast open world with constant updates. Let's not trail too far off from this week's focus. For Tears of the Kingdom, it continues where we left off from the first one, but this time Link will be traversing not just the lands but the floating islands as well. If it took you 50 hours to beat the main story plus an extra 98 hours to beat the completionist for the first time, like what howlongtobeat.com website says, expect to invest even more hours on this sequel. To be honest, I'm still far from done from Breath of the Wild, but I can't wait to start this one already. So let's have a quick look at the packaging before we unbox the contents inside. Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition continued the tradition to use a darker theme for the collector's box and minimalist design. We actually can't see much from the outer box, except that it's a Zelda game for Nintendo Switch. Thank you, Mr. Obvious. Since just the collector's box won't do much justice to the contents inside, let me cut the tape first and take out everything. Just give me a moment. Here we go. We'll start with this one first. We have the plastic game case and the game cartridge inside, so I may just as well open this ring wrap and take a look inside too. Just have to say bye to this ring wrap, even though I know they won't include the DLC contents for Tears of the Kingdom. Anyways. The game cartridge. But I'm pretty confident that we'll see DLC contents for Tears of the Kingdom just like Breath of the Wild. It can also help prolong the lifespan of the game, like exponentially. Okay. So, no DLC card as expected. But we do have a steelbook case for the package. So we have 2 cases in total. Then we have a pin set, which is tucked pretty tight inside. Inside a foam case to display it. Not too bad. And we have what they call the ICONART poster. Oh, here you go. Featuring a larger view of the floating islands. Let me just take this out first. Technical difficulties. Okay. So similar to the game case art. But this is not your regular poster, plastic or paper or even laminated one, but this one is actually steel. It's metal, and they give you even a magnet so you can stick on the back, and then you can put on the wall. Since it's metal, it can definitely withstand the time of hanging and weathering. I'll better keep it safe then. And lastly, with many of Nintendo's collector's editions, we have one big hardcover art book that shows different illustrations and artworks inside the game. I've lost track of how many art books I have ever since I've collecting the collector's edition, but each one of them give me excellent insights on how their graphic designers and illustrators try to achieve the wonderful games they desire to, and even some sneak peeks of the stuff that didn't make the cut in the final games. I'll go through it a little bit more towards the end of the video. With this collector's edition, when this collector's edition was announced, gamers and collectors were a bit in shock about the contents that would be included with such a high price tag. We understand that video games these days tend to be more expensive thanks to the inflation, and things are just expensive in general. But when you compare the overall contents of Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition with Breath of the Wild Master Edition side by side, like in this photo, you can understand why collectors are asking for just a little bit more goodies to add more value to the package. We don't have the Switch case carrying case anymore, we don't have the soundtrack anymore, and we don't even have a statue or figurine or amiibo packed in anymore. But don't forget that Zelda and Nintendo games are all about different merchandise and peripherals that come at or after the game launch. If you like to hunt down other related goodies, Nintendo is never short of those kinds of collectibles. So that's it for this episode of Self Unboxing. Don't forget to like and comment on this video. Time for me, this one, to put the cartridge in to continue my journey with Link. And this game is huge. It will take up about 16 gigabytes of your Switch space, so make sure you've done some cleanup on your console before you play. Have a wonderful and magical journey, everyone.